Yes, sir. Back in the building. Book of Oahspe has been shaking up the spiritual streets, especially in the so-called conscious community. Shaking bushes, all kind of folks sticking their heads out. Create a game and coming with it. It's been a hot sex since I've been on here. You know, brother been busy, man. You know, short Lakers, life, family, you know. Y'all know how I go. But we're going to go ahead and finish off the book of knowledge. We're going to start at chapter 7. Chapter 7 and verse 11. Hope everybody get my audio on good. Can I get a 1 in the chat if my audio is cool? Can everybody hear me? All right. Come on in. Come on in. Sir Cosmon, Cal TV in the building. Angelic, just me. Coming on in. CGG been delivering all week. Been delivering all week. We're gonna hit it off with verse 11. Verse 11. The voice of Jaja came upon S. Recap, short little recap. S being the spirit world, saying to Tay. For those that are coming in the first time, S in the Oahspe is referring to the spirit world. Tay being the highest expression of mankind, or the universal voice of man as a collective. You know what I'm saying? Had to get that out the way. I like to do a little recap just so everybody can somewhat become familiar with certain terms in the book. Because that's one of the problems that a lot of folks, when they try to come up against the Oahspe or, you know, the naysayers, they're not familiar with the verbiage. So you have to take the time to become familiar with the verbiage in order to combat. You know, that's on the house tonight. But let me go ahead and share the screen. I got to start doing these more often. We're going to have some fun tonight. You shall comprehend, Ote. Now, note, contextually, this is the spirit world speaking through the voice of man. You shall comprehend, Ote, these things of the past. The beast walked forth on the earth in every guise. Right? Now, we like to show you what's either in the text, definitions, the whole nine, just so you can understand exactly what we're referring to. That way ain't nobody playing no games. Mahaya in the building. Mahaya Naturals. Go holler at Mahaya Naturals. She got some hair products, skin products, naturally, vegan. Get you right. Check her out. In every guise. Well, what exactly is a guise? And the reason why I'm pulling this up because sometimes when we're reading certain words, everybody may not know. This don't make you dumb or nothing like that, but sometimes you got to go back and look at certain words just to get certain context of what it's referring to, right? Boom. An external form, appearance, or manner of presentation, typically concealing the true nature of something. Okay? So these beasts is rocking on the earth in every form, disguising and moving in elusive manners, right? And in the second sphere of atmosphere, the second S grade, he became a living person born out of the sins of men. For one man worshipped science, and it was his beast. Another worshiped riches. Peace, Essene, Nazarene, faith is in the building. Another fashion, another lust, and another worship nothing. And each of these things that was worshipped became that person's beast. Now all these are others, and others like them continue to do the same things after death. FGK Capone in the building. Capone be putting it down on them tracks, man. That's my dude right there. And it was his base. Another, I'm gonna read it again. For one man worships science. Think about it. And it was his beast. Another worshiped riches. And it was his beast. Another fashion. Another lust. Another worship nothing. And each of these things that was worshipped became that person's beast. Now all these and others like them continue to do the same things after death. Continue for for that which they had built on earth became as a living entity within them, and they could not put it away. This was the first resurrection, being the birth of unclean man into the spirit world. So in this whole pocket of paragraph, it's letting you know that what you worshipped consciously, you carry over into the spirit world. For one man worship science. Where we at? For one man worship science. Let me pull a couple of things up right here. Because there's several other places in the book that refers to each and everything that man actually deals with. And that's one of the things about Oahspe. It defines you where you at. It defines you where you at. Hold on. Oh yeah, I know what I'm looking for right now. It will definitely find you where it's at. And that's what makes the book so powerful. There's certain books that will do that. And then there's certain books, man, that's just like upside your head. Like, man, I got to get my shit together. And you know when it's talking to you. Let's see what we at. Is this it? I'll show this here in a second. Peace up, Bishop X. Yeah, I should have had all this pulled up, man. My bad, y'all. My bad. I might come back to this. But give me a second. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see. We ain't in no rush tonight. We just gonna tell it how it is. Tell it like a TIL. Let's see, what book is it? Here we go. Boop. Science. And man advanced in great learning, both of the sun, moon, and stars, and of all things on the face of the earth. The Lord said, these signs I have given man so that he may comprehend the cycles of his creator. When spiritual research is chief among men, they do not advance in science, art, or inventions. That belongs to the earth. What? That belongs to the earth. But when man is of spiritual aspiration, he advances in corporal knowledge, inventions, and investigations. What exactly are you investigating? How it all comes together? Who did it? Unbiasedly? These signs foretell the changes being wrought on mortals by the hand of the Almighty through his guides and his lords. Wealth, Bukalika, or as some folks might pronounce it, Lika. We ain't tripping on that. I do not allow evil to triumph over good except for short seasons, and sooner or later my righteous sons and daughters rise up and rejoice in their trials, which are allowed to come upon them. Let neither men nor angels say, because this or that happens, lo, Jaja sleeps at his post. Or lo, Jaja is the author of evil or is impotent to avert it. My times are not like the times of men or angels. nor am I within the judgment of men to what is evil or good. When the wealth of the rich man is stolen, do mortals not say, poor man, Jaja has afflicted him? For they judge me by what they consider afflictions, but they do not see that I took the soul of man as to what is good for him. And when the assassin has struck the king to death, behold, they say, how has a good creator done this? Rhetorical question. For they do not consider the nation or the problem of anything except their immediate affairs, nor do they consider what I do for the souls of many nations by one small act. For all people in heaven and earth are my own. They are like trees in my orchard. And I prune them, not for the life of the branches, but for the benefit of the whole orchard. Not just for you, but for the whole. And for the harvest that comes after. I created life, I take away life. I do with my own and my own way. I send night to follow day, clouds to interchange with the sunshine. I think I seen that today. I don't know where everybody at is living in the planet. You know what I'm saying? But it was a nice day today for a winter day. You feel me? Especially when it's been so cold for so long. You know what I'm talking about? You see the creator all in the sky. You know what I'm talking about? And likewise, I give times of Dan to my atmosphere in heavens to be followed by seasons of darkness. It is by these changes that mortals, angels, and gods learn to battle with and overcome the elements of the worlds. Lust. If you've been paying attention, each little element that was in that paragraph, that's what I'm reading off of from other texts. These are precepts. But if the Drujas, this is on the lust part, Bakalika 26, but if the Drujas have greater power than the mortal, then they pull him down in darkness, making him into a man who lusts after the affairs of the earth. Sometimes they help man to riches and great power. And if he has sons and daughters who are brought up in idleness, ease, and luxury, then the Drujas fasten upon them, leading them in their own way of lust and debauchery or hard-heartedness. The flesh eater is their delight. Like, man, you talking about that flesh again, dog. Hey, I'm just reading. The flesh eater is their delight, and the drunkard their great joy. The man of riches and kings, generals, fighting men, harlots, and soldiers are great treasures to them, and all manner of intoxicating things. That mortals delight in are great feasts and rejoicings to them. The priest and the preacher who live in ease and luxury, performing showy rites and entertainment. I don't know if any of y'all, there's got to be somebody in the chat that was big time church once upon a time. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You was probably in church more than you had more understanding than anything, because that was how we came up, right? And yeah, it's quite a show now. It is quite a show, and especially if you're not in church no more, some of the stuff you see on social media, it'll just blow your mind, because like that probably would have never went down back when you was in church. This has got really wild out here now. You know, Mac Bomb Mac could be in no building, Iman no building, Intuitive Goat in the building. Thank y'all for coming through. We're gonna dive in tonight. We're gonna see some things tonight that man, you're gonna be shaking your head at. Man, I got something for you tonight. The priest and the preacher who live in ease and luxury, performing showy rites and entertainments, are a great harvest for them to revel with. Sometimes the Druges rule over their mortals, and his neighbors call him mad. And they send him to a madhouse, which is to them a city of delight. When mortals engage in war, slaying one another, the Druges have great merriment, taking part by inspiring mortals into the conflict. I don't know how many of y'all have worked at a nursing home, a mental institution, things of that nature. And at the time when you was probably working there, you wasn't privy to certain information. But now that the higher light has been gradually accumulating through some time, you look back on it and you're like, man, that was probably what's happening to old boy or old girl back then. We see these cats walking in through the hood, but we always look at them like they mad. And that's a nice word, a nice European word. You know, black folks got their own word for that. The pleader lawyer is a favorite to them. This is a head buster right here, man. The pleader lawyer is a favorite to them, for his vocation brings them into the center of contention, craft, and lying. He is to them a fortunate habitation. The magician who works miracles and tricks is their favorite. For with him and through him, they can make themselves manifest. Mm, 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 mm. The magician who works miracles and tricks is their favorite. For with him and through him, they can make themselves manifest. And when they show themselves and are questioned as to who they are, they answer to any name that will please or flatter. What? How about that? Even at times pretending to be gods and saviors. The tattling woman who talks about her neighbors is a good home for Druges. And if the woman is given to talk evil, they are rejoiced beyond measure. The man who is a great boaster and liar and slanderer is a choice house for them to dwell in. Man, that 26, 21, and 10 alone makes you just gotta walk around like, man, did I do that shit today? You really gotta take some self inventory and make sure you don't fall in that category. The cheater and defrauder, the miser and the spendthrift, the cursor of Jaja, the cursor of the gods is like a citadel for them to inhabit. Anybody that's familiar in the military, you know what I'm saying? Citadel. It's like a place. I want to say most of the time you hear it's dealing with like the Navy or something like that. You don't hear that in the Army. But headquarters, organized headquarters, in other words, to inhabit. They do not go, for the most part, away from the mortal. They inhabit while he lives. Because why would they do it while he dead? Huh? They do not go, for the most part, away from the mortal they inhabit while he lives. No, they lack the wisdom or strength to go more than one length away. Some of them have strength to go to a neighbor or to a neighbor's house. And if a mortal curses his neighbor to die, then those Jews who can go to that neighbor seek out some poisonous infection and inoculate him to death, which is called casting spells. What? Casting spells. So this is rolling right up the alley of the get back spirits. Santeria, voodoo. I want to put some period blood in the spaghetti type shit. You know what I'm saying? Get back spirit. At the time you thinking that you getting over, which you might be for that particular time, but it's coming back. I think I'm going to read that one more time. They do not go, for the most part, away from the mortal they inhabit while he lives. No, they lack the wisdom or strength to go more than one length away. Some of them have strength to go to a neighbor or to a neighbor's house. Right next door. And if a mortal curses his neighbors to die, then those Drusians who can go to that neighbor seek out some poisonous infection and inoculate him to death, which is called casting spells. BC in the building. I see you, bro. And last on that list from the Book of Liga, those, especially on Sinetta, because it could be anybody that comes up in there. You always got them folks, especially them moderators. The moderators, they think they just on $10 all knowledge and don't believe in nothing. Okay. I told Black Lion Supreme the other day, I was like, okay. All right. The man who says, I pity my neighbor, they are surrounded with Judas. The man who says only fools believe in obsession. The man who says there is no all person. The man who says my way is wisdom, yours is wicked. The man who says as the priest thinks, so do I. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb, and I can probably say at least 70-80% black folks ain't really rocking with no priest, but they ain't rocking with a pastor. So you can kind of put pastor there in them words. As the pastor thinks, so do I. The man who says, if only you had my knowledge. The man who says the ancients were wiser than we. The man who says the ancients were fools. The man who says whoever does not see as I do is a heathen. The man who says whoever does not worship my God is wicked. The man who says wisdom is book learning. And that's how like most of them cats be, man. Like, man, look, man wrote that book, we understand what they saying, but at the same time, these cats be acting like they stuff done been passed down 1,000 years orally to where they get all this particular knowledge. We know what it is. The man who says there is no wisdom in books. The man who says my book is sacred. It contains the sum of all revelation and inspiration. And we got to watch ourselves with that shit too. The man who says there is neither inspiration nor words of inspiration. The followers of the ancients only. He who will have nothing to do with the ancients. He who ignores rites, ceremonies, and prayers. He who depends on rites and ceremonies and prayers. Whoever denies the ever-present person. Whoever follows the counsel of angels of men. Whoever will not learn from the counsel of men and angels. You see the flip-flop, but there's a understanding in between. Whoever feels prayers and confessions to be good for others, but not necessarily for himself. Or say, I will lead and supervise. You be my servant. And that's how a lot of these leaders end up. They might even start it on the good foot, but somehow have become contaminated with self. The man who says, let one dictate to me, I will have nothing but liberty to the uttermost. Let me get back to the script. But yeah, those that's pertaining to that to those scripts right there. Let's go on bring it back. Where we at? This it right here. Let's see. Nah, wait, that's not what we at. Yeah, there we go. Here we go. Here we go. We back. We back. My bad. My bad. Nah, that ain't Taz beat. That's my beat. Selah Shalom in the building. That's my beat. Go. But yeah, Taz be putting it down, man. Taz be putting it down. You know what I'm saying? That's why we got to get this album together. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us we got some things to say. You know what I'm saying? And you know, music is an expression, and it's gonna be a beautiful thing, man. You know what I'm saying? Um, I know we got some more musicians in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Just holler. If you ain't hollered already, man, you know, just holler. Especially if you can sing, make music, make beats, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just holler at one of us, man. We'll set some things up, man. You know, we gotta work because we gotta spread this message, and it's gonna really be effective through music. You know what I'm saying? Samisha in the building, what's going on, sis? Nazarena Sing TV in the building. What's good, fam? Let's see, where we stop off at? Oh yeah, we finished here. Verse 14. In the second sphere of atmosphere, which is the second resurrection, the second S grade, the condition was like the first sphere, being of a beastly nature, but organic. Organic being organized. For one, people worship Brahma, making him a beast. Another worship Buddha, another Christ, and another Jesus, forever parading his crucifixion. Especially in the hip hop community, church community, you know, folks still be rocking the near naked Jesus either around your neck on a chain or somewhere on the wall, parading his resurrection. That's not really a celebration if you think about it, even though we was in that mentality at one point in time. But luckily we broke loose. Ayamani in the building, created gang, gang. And they all made a beast of their idols. And they all made a beast of their idols. They made it, right? And the beast that each one built up within his soul. That means you created it, or they created it. That means it's dealing with some consciousness, right? Became an entity to him on his entrance into the spirit life. Meaning what? You carry that over into the spirit world. And I know it for a lot of folks, uh I let me turn the camera on. For a lot of folks, man, it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around that. Like, man, yo, I didn't think of it like that. That little deep dog, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's good to meditate on these things and just meditate on it, man. Just think on it for a minute. It'll hit you. Can you hear me now? Let me get the one in the chat if you can hear me. Let me get the one in the chat if you can hear me. All right, let me see. Can you hear me now? Let me get a 2 in the chat if you can hear me now. 2 in the chat if you can hear me now. Okay, cool. Here we go. All right, here we go. All right, cool. Appreciate your patience. You know, this technology be tripping sometimes. We back on the swing. Let's say, and these evil spirits became like gods. In fact, building kingdoms in the lower heavens and making subjects and slaves of their worshippers, compelling them to contribute part of their earnings and labor in spirit, even as mortal kings exact tribute, taxes, labor, military service, etc. on earth. And these rulers had thousands and millions and tens of millions of subjects and slaves, and their cities were as represented to mortals, paved with comparative pearls and diamonds. Right? And so before Cosmine, let's see, for Cosmine, the organic heavens situated close to the earth were divided by among the foreheads of the beast. And yet, besides these, mostly on earth or near the earth, were many lesser kingdoms of various other false gods and false lords, mostly professing to be the true Christ, Jesus, Buddha, Brahma, or Allah. These things you have witnessed, that the spirits of the first birth, first S grade, discourse on the things of the earth and of marriage and begetting, not having risen even to the second resurrection, second S grade. Their hope and belief is in heaven. Their hope and belief in heaven is to re-enter wombs and be born again. This is something Creator again keep hitting on time and time again. Teaching reincarnation. These are spirits, druges, old spirits that attach themselves to people and give them that inspiration that they lived 1,000 years ago. I don't know about y'all, man, but prior to the Oahspe, I ain't never heard nothing like that. And I done heard some pretty deep shit, man, concerning reincarnation. But that right there, as far as Druses attaching themselves to people, that makes more sense than having to come here over and over and over again until you get it right. At least to the same spot. You understand me? Administering to the proclivities of lust in mortals. You got to be watchful out here, man. Ministering to the proclivities of lust in mortals. These Druids, since they've been one-time living people, they know what it is. They know what it is to be looking at a fine young thing, or been lonely for a minute. You know what I'm saying? They know your appetites. They know what that flesh hunger for. You know what I'm talking about? They know what it is to look at that brother with the muscles, and you know what I'm talking about? Ain't no discrimination in that world. And some of the stuff, I ain't gonna get to it all tonight, but yeah, spirit world crazy. Inspiring visions of sexual desires and practices in heaven. For all such spirits have not risen up from the earth, and know no other abode. They ain't even moved on. They've been here kicking it, feasting on niggas. But to revel and glut themselves in corporal debauchery. Basically, they like to be in mortal mess. They like to kick it in mess. Out of that mess that be going on. And many of them boastingly and in darkness teach falsely that spirits in heaven give birth to sons and daughters, and even that these latter reincarnate themselves in mortal flesh, becoming children of the earth. And some of that might not necessarily hit home in your neck of the woods, but it goes on in other neck of the woods. You know what I'm saying? Because there is teachings out there that's talking about spirits having babies. You know what I'm saying? Look at Shiva and his wife. They had Lord Ganesh. You know what I'm saying? Huh? Nah. Let me go and get a picture of Lord Ganesh and his wife. But this is just one of the many, you know, uh, many of the gods that's out there. They may not be on, um, in your neck of the woods, uh, spiritual systems, or even in your neighborhood, but just know that they out there. Let's see. And a lot of y'all familiar with Lord Shiva, so-called Lord Shiva. You know what I'm saying? On some East Indian type tip. But this is what it's referring to. You don't hear this in your typical biblical um, narratives, but they are out there. Let's see where we at. Right there. Boom. This is Shiva and his wife. And they had Lord Ganesh, the elephant head dude. He had got his head cut off, and that's how they had him. Because the story goes, Lord Shiva came to the crib, and Lord Shiva came to the crib. I can't even remember what the problem was. It's been a minute since I read it, but yeah, that's how they got him. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, East Indian stuff be out there. It be out there. And I'm not saying there ain't no gems in there, because you're gonna find gems in everything. But at the same time, you got to know what's from the creator. I'll reiterate that, was from the Creator. Yeah, we back with it. We back with it. All such spirits shall you shall know by their teaching. For whatever seems the highest delight of a man on earth or a spirit in S, even that he will exalt in and proclaim. Boom. Folk always talking about, yeah, test the spirit, test the spirit, test the spirit. But it be so shallow a lot of times. And of those who have bound themselves to the beast of the second resurrection of old, you have witnessed this sign. They proclaim the beast they have made, whether it is an idol of Jesus, Christ, Buddha, Muhammad, or Brahma, and continually harp on him, knowing no higher, and he stands as a figure of the beast upon which they hang their ropes of endless bliss. Let me read that one again for the folk in the back. And of those who have bound themselves to the beast of the second resurrection of old, you have witnessed this sign. They proclaim the beast they have made, whether it is an idol of Jesus, Christ, Buddha, Muhammad, or Brahma, and continually harp on it. Continually. Every Sunday. Well, Buddha and Muhammad, no, especially at funerals. Well, ain't nobody but my Jesus. Muhammad ain't gonna get, you know what I'm saying? Every rip. We know it. We know it. Continually to harp, and you don't even know what you're really harping on, because 9 times out of 10, you ain't even studied all these other spiritual systems. By their preaching, you have evidence of their place in heaven. Whoever practices in them receives the inspiration from the slaves of the beast he proclaims. What? Yet the second S grade association is higher than the first. For the first S grade is isolated, and the spirit or mortal belonging to it preaches and practices on his own account, being holy for self. That's wild, ain't it? Your next funeral you go to, look at that preacher. This is man, look, that's all I'm saying. The Father has given this sign that in marriage, man and woman become the first testimony before mortals. That self can be abnegated without the loss of self, experiencing a loss in fact. And this is the smallest possible number that can unite on earth or in heaven. Let the single man or single woman stand, therefore, as a type. I know you're familiar with types and shadows from the church days. Some of us, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you get off and if you were off into theology school and all that kind of stuff, types of shadows, hermeneutics, and all that kind of stuff. A type being not the very thing, but an example of. as a type of the lowest of the heavens, first S grade, and let marriage stand as a type of the second resurrection, second S grade, for those of the first S grade are as individuals, but those of the second S grade are as the beginning of association and the committing of oneself to the combination of many. It's just showing that just even corporeal marriage is deeper than what we actually think at the end of the day. It goes beyond just the shallow, the two are one, or the two become one flesh vibe. You know what I'm saying? It's good wisdom. This just gets a little deeper with it. S said, Jah has given to men a sign of the third resurrection, third S grade. By which they shall be known, which is that self shall not be manifest except in the union of many. Let's see. I won't bring it up right now. For as to the first resurrection, may have marriage between two persons who in time become as one. Second resurrection. So two families of the second resurrection who unite themselves together as community, third S grade, become in time as one third resurrection. As so similarly, those of the third resurrection become brides and bridegrooms of Jah, being fitted for ascension into Etheria at the Dan harvest. So that those practicing the third S grade manifest in families of tens, 20s, or hundreds, or thousands, who in time are also as one. Nor do they have any other king, chief ruler, God, Lord, or Christ. That is, they have grown beyond any bondage to the beast in the first or second resurrection. Oh, I gotta pull this up. These are the levels. This is what this paragraph was talking about. This is higher levels of Etheria, Nirvana, also known as Nirvana. You know what I'm saying? Let's see, man. Says verse 23, for these reasons, then, if a man says, I have no faith in these things because they are impractical. You may know he belongs to or has bound himself to the beast in one of the first two S grades. First resurrection beast or second resurrection beast, as spawned in Bond, the book of Bond, and so does not belong to the third. Because by the time you get to the third, it's a wrap. You ain't gonna be stunting that. Not saying that that you necessarily have to be stunting in the first resurrection or the second resurrection, but you know, there's gonna be a lot of folk that's still gonna be holding on to some things. As said, nevertheless, it has been proved in Israel that these things were for 400 years. The third S grade was sustained on earth through the beginning of the bond cycle. And these people attained to 6 million souls. Whoever then says it cannot happen in this day is void of righteousness. Man, just in 2023 alone, you can probably say, man, I wasn't expecting this to happen. And then, we in 2024 and a whole bunch of stuff didn't happen. Ain't nothing to surprise you now. You feel me? And like the ancients speaking from the bondage of the first or second resurrection beast, denying the progress, note the progress of man and accusing Jaja. That's some bitter souls still from ancient times. They're still upset with Jaja. Do not judge Jaja's chosen by the standard of the worshippers of the beast. Neither should any man accuse Jaja because man has set up natural law, putting Jaja at a distance, or because he has set up Brahma, Buddha, Muhammad, or Christ, putting Jaja at a distance. For all these idols were necessary to those who love the figure of a beast. They couldn't have, certain parts of man couldn't have progressed without them coming up with these things. You know what I'm saying? Cats would have still been in the Stone Age if they didn't come up with some of these idols. Those who have not attained to the third resurrection, that is Jaja's presence, must have first a mortal king or ruler, second laws, a third enforcement, the sword, and the prison. For all these were given to those who are begotten in sin and dwell in the beast. Neither can he who preaches any of the idols practice that which he preaches. They are no more than news vendors. Oh my Lord. No more than news vendors. God damn. I got a picture of a paper boy, man, just throwing newspapers out there. Or the Arab out on the corner, man, just, talking about come buy a paper or magazine or something. They ain't no more than news vendors. Next time you see your Israelite on the corner or a preacher in the pulpit, man, just picture a newspaper in his hand. Proclaiming what Buddha, Christ, Muhammad, or Brahma did or said, or what is done by natural law or divine law. Their mission is to preach and not to practice. For the practice of righteousness is not possible for them. Man, just that alone make you look at things a whole nother perspective. You know how folks used to get down, man. And he was saying, he came down and walked on glory, walked on water. And nowadays, y'all probably be looking at it like, man, this dude ain't nothing but the news, man. Woo! Yeah, Nation of Islam too. Oh, yeah, no. Islam getting it too, dog. This ain't no just beating up on Christians and carrying on the Israelite. No. Everybody getting it. Everybody got gonna fall. If a man comes to you and says, behold, I am inspired by the angels of the third resurrection, see to it and prove him or her for it. If he is genuine, he is a practicer of Jaja's kingdom. Not in preaching, but in works. Now, we had this little turtle dude named Berean TV pop his little head up within the past couple of days, trying to put his mouth on Creator Gang, and that ain't what he want. And I do say that humbly because I think people got us wrong. You know, we out here searching like everybody else, but we didn't came across something now. We just trying to share it. We trying to share the information, man. That's all we trying to do. But then you got the naysayers like, yo, I'm still holding on to my divas. That's fine, but just check this out though. Defend what you're working with, and see if it makes sense once you acquire some higher life. You know what I'm saying? Behold, and I'm going to read this again, verse 28. If a man comes to you and says, behold, I am inspired by the angels of the third resurrection. Now, you notice specifically it says the third resurrection. See to it and prove him or her. For if he is genuine, he is a practicer of Jaja's kingdom, not in preaching, but in works. See, it gives you more a little oomph to go on dealing with how to test the spirits. It just don't leave you hanging. Just test the spirits and then you walk off. You understand what I'm saying? But if he strives for himself in all things, then he is inspired by the first resurrection. You know, people, let's just say somebody you was cool with one time, might not seen them for a hot sec. You just happen to go, they just so happen to run into you, and you can tell from their conversation they wasn't really on what they was on before. That's kind of how it is. These are little situations y'all like, I really can't rock with them like that no more. They on something else. And yet if he is a proclaimer for one of the idols, then he is bound to the beast of the second resurrection of old, asserting law and even violence. Asserting law and even violence. As one man alone cannot practice war, neither can one man alone practice the third resurrection. You need people on the third resurrection. You need people in certain parts of your life. There's just things you just can't do by yourself. You can tell yourself that you don't need nobody. And that very well may be true to a certain degree. But when you get higher, But the dope thing about this though, with Jaja, there's gonna be somebody though that's on your level and that's gonna get right there with you. Ain't gonna leave you hanging like that. You might have a season or two, couple seasons when you dolo, you know what I'm saying? But you gonna run into some folk, you know what I'm saying? That's how we all got together. You feel me? Creative Gang didn't come together on no mistake or happenstance. Hmm? Try them therefore, behold, Jaja as to whether for his sake they will become one with an army of brethren for righteousness. For such is a kingdom. Hmm. Hold that right quick. Try them therefore, behold, before Jaja as to whether for his sake they will become one with an army of brethren for righteousness. So if folks can get on that level now while in the corporal or the corpor, it should be to a degree a piece of cake in the third resurrection. Not saying there won't be no opposition, but if you familiarize yourself with that mentality now, you know what I'm saying? It won't be new to you later. For such is a kingdom, and of it Jaja is king. All such will abjure war and violence. Man, we ain't got time for that. A lot of us have been fighting all our lives. And contribute all they produce to the Father's kingdom, reserving nothing. This becomes power by virtue of righteousness and peace. These are ministered to by the spirits of the third resurrection, who have no Buddha, nor Christ, nor Jaja, excuse me, who have no Buddha nor Christ, but Jaja only. The proof of these things shall be manifest before all peoples. The Buddhist, the Brahmin, the Mohammedan, and the Christian will not accept a brotherhood, a true fraternity, either on earth or in heaven, because in truth he has his own idol. Mm, that goes deep. That goes to the rooter to the tutor. And folks be really deep with this, man. That's why when brother Malachi, man, the other day, man, uh was showing some of the idolic things in East India, and even way prior to that, when he was showing the things and even a lot of the brews back in the day. Uh, and you know the story, animal sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? You got people that'll just die to the bone about these kind of things. Now, what I'm about to show you, viewer discretion is advised because some of these things, you know, especially this one clip, man. I'm gonna hold up. I ain't gonna show that one at first, but that one, the one I'm referring to, it's pretty. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty like, man. And These cats is doing this today. Today, this wasn't. They was doing it way a couple thousand years ago, but they still doing this today. Let me go ahead and find this right quick and get this set up for you. If y'all can still hear me, let me get a one in the chat. If y'all can still hear me, let me get a one in the chat. I bet. Now, look at some of these animal sacrifices, man. Now, like I told you, viewer discretion is advised, but this is still going on today. And people have idolized a lot of these gods and are still willing to do some of these things today. I'm not going to say everybody in these cultures, but there's still plenty of them that still will be about that business. Check this out. A goat looking like, man, why you sprinkling it on me, dog? What's going on? Woo! Man, you see that, man? Man, that is to one of the four beasts. That's to one of the deities. The sad thing about it, they did it in the Old Testament too. But they gonna act like they sacrifices somehow became was better. It was more anointed. You did the same thing. The same thing. My heart goes out to that goat, man. It did the same thing. Hey, Iman, I said viewer discretion. You ain't seen nothing yet. Hey, man, I'm telling you, man. Now, this is your Ashkenaz folk, but these is the same thing. Negroes, you know, Israelites was doing the same thing, or they want to be had been on the same thing that these folks are about to do right here. You know what I'm saying? The Old Testament. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of how way you slice it, Christians will try to hermeneutically, apologetically fix it. No, this is what the Old Testament got required. Yeah, we about to get them next because they do it too. Animal ain't did nothing to nobody. But see, they ain't really sure. Yes, it's these same sacrifices are done in the Quran too. You know what I'm saying? They just got different names for it. No, no sound. Hold on, just a second. All right, can you hear me now? Okay, hold on. I see that. Let's see, window. All right, you should be able to hear this one here.
The purpose of why we do that, which will help us
Can you hear that one?
understand and answering this question. Firstly, we do this as a reenactment and a response and a sign of respect to Allah via the practices of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So it's a reenactment of what Ibrahim alayhi salam did with his son Ismail. And the brief background of this is where Ibrahim, as we know, he was a prophet that called people to the oneness of Allah, the oneness of God, Tawheed, and that is the basis of Islam. He called primarily his father and his congregation, the people in that area, because his father was an idol worshiper, to the degree that Abraham at one point tried to speak to the idols and they didn't speak back to them, didn't speak back to him. And Abraham went to his people and he asked him, do you
Alexa,
worship
turn
that
off.
which you carve? Allah created you and what you do. And the people, being his father and the congregation, were not pleased with that. So Allah says in the chapter of Safat, and as a brief background, where he says, relating the story of the people of Abraham, including his father, where they say, قَالُوا بُنُوا لَهُ بُنْيَانًا فَأَلْقُوهُ فِي الْجَحِيمِ. They said, build for him a structure and throw him in a blazing fire. فَأَرَادُوا بِهِ كَيْدًا فَجَعَلْنَاهُمُ الْأَسْفَلِينَ. Then Allah says, they wanted for him a plan, which is to throw him in the fire and kill him. فَجَعَلْنَاهُمُ الْأَسْفَلِينَ. And Allah says, we made them from the lowest of people, being that their plan was not successful. وَقَالَ إِنِّي ذَاهِبٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّي سَيَهْدِينَ. Then Allah mentions the statement of Abraham, where he said, I am going to my Lord. Verily, he will show me the way. He'll guide me. So Abraham, being saved from the fire and saying, I'm going to my Lord, he will guide me. Abraham at that time makes a dua. رَبِّ هَبْ لِي مِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ فَبَشَّرْنَاهُ بِغُلَامٍ حَلِيمٍ. Oh Allah, guide for me or bless me with a son that is from the.
Basically, I just wanted to play that first part because they get busy with it too. So you got the bros that do sacrifices. You got these Indians do the sacrifices. You got who else up in here doing it? Basically, all of them doing sacrifice. It just make you just think, man, like, what is you really trying to do to appease the God of your system? Like you gonna get in good graces with these animal sacrifices, and they can get pretty gory. Now check this cat out. This dude is a Brahmin, right? I probably won't be able to get into it tonight due to the time, but I'll get on it sometime the rest of the week. Because you know I like to stay in East India. I like to stay on East India's top. Not that they ain't got no gyms, but for the most part, though, they got some wild stuff going on. But check this cat. This cat right here, he getting upset about animal sacrifice. This nigga fighting over the pig feet. This dude upset. And you gotta for those that don't really that haven't really studied East Indian culture, Brahmins are pretty much like how the Levitical priesthood was. They just like the equivalent, but they just in that area of the world. You know what I'm saying? And I would say majority of Brahmin. I'm not gonna say all Brahmins, but majority of them jokers. You know what I'm saying?
हमारे दिलेर लड़कों में बहादुरी का प्रचार करती थी, प्रसार करती थी, उन सारी प्रथाओं को एक एक करके बंद कर दिया गया, एक एक करके रोक दिया गया। एक बहुत बड़ा आप इसका उदाहरण समझिए, बलि प्रथा। हमारे मंदिरों में जो बलि होती थी, हमारे मंदिरों से वो बलि प्रथा इसलिए खत्म की गई ताकि हमारे शेरों में, हमारे नवयुवकों में लड़ने मरने और बहादुरी का भाव खत्म किया जा सके। हमारा ऐसा कौन सा धर्म ग्रंथ है जिसमें बलि प्रथा नहीं है? क्या वेदों में बलि प्रथा नहीं है? क्या वाल्मीकि रामायण में बलि प्रथा नहीं है? क्या महाभारत में बलि प्रथा नहीं है? हर जगह बलि प्रथा है। यदि बलि प्रथा है तो हमें बलि प्रथा को जारी रखना चाहिए। मैं सनातन धर्म के सभी मानने वालों से कहना चाहता हूं, दुनिया के हर महाकाली के मंदिर में बलि प्रथा को शुरू करिए, बलि प्रथा को शुरू करिए, बलि प्रथा को शुरू करिए।
You see, that boy with it. He wanna get these animal sacrifices on. But that's the same thing they was doing in Israel. Like any Israelite, regardless, especially an Old Testament Israelite, you gotta look at these cats like, yo, y'all was doing the same thing. So what makes your shit better than this? The thing is, we get a visual of it in today's time, but y'all was doing the same thing. Y'all was doing the same thing. Y'all had a brazen altar, you know what I'm saying? And you had the dimensions of the altar a certain way because it was commanded by the Lord, and you know what I'm talking about? It's the same thing, dog. That is not the creator, man. Oh, that right there, that was a reenactment. But you can see right there, boom. That's what it is. That's what they do. Let me show one more, and then I'm gonna get out your way. Man, look, I'm gonna hold off on that one, man. I'm gonna hold off on that one. Nah, I ain't gonna hold off on that one because y'all got to see it. Y'all got to see it, and this was the same stuff they was doing back in the day. Different region of the world. They just still on it. Now, this one here is definitely viewer discretion advised. But this right here just lets you know the level of devotion to these false gods and deities. I won't even play the whole thing, but I just want you to get the gist of it.
आप लोग देखने वाले हैं, उन्हें देख के आपकी रूह भी कांप जाएंगे और आपके दिल रो पड़ेंगे। आज की डेट में समाज इतना आगे तक बढ़ तो चुका है, लेकिन अभी भी नारी बलि प्रथा बंद नहीं हुआ है। जी, आपने सही सुना, अभी भी नारी बलि होता है और ये हर साल होता है। लेकिन कहाँ और कैसे, ये तो जानेंगे ही। लेकिन उससे पहले जरा इस दिल दहला देने वाले वीडियो क्लिप को देखो।
Y'all see that? This is the upper torso of a child. This is recent. This is modern times. But they was doing this in Israel. They was giving the whole child to Molech and them. But you gonna try to come and justify some things to us now? Man, look at this. Look, I don't know if they sacrificed this baby or if they dug the baby up. Either way, in these people's minds, somehow rolling around the city with this upper torso of this child is going to appease the gods. And you can't stick your nose up to it because they was doing the same thing in Jerusalem.
देख सकते हो कि एक आधा कटा हुआ बच्चा एक इंसान के हाथ में है और वो उसे लेके गांव में घूम घूम के नाच दिखा रहा है। ये घटना है वेस्ट बंगाल की बर्धमान जिले के एक छोटे से गांव के, जिसका नाम है कुरमुन। इस वीडियो क्लिप को देख के हर कोई कहेंगे कि एक इंसान इतना बेरहम कैसे हो सकता है, लेकिन दोस्तों ये प्रथा सिर्फ आज नहीं।
That's the thing, BC. Like when folks say like the devil, that's kind of like a scapegoat for niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how they gonna. Well, you know, we didn't do that. Well, we didn't do sacrifices to the devil. We actually did it to the Lord. Oh man, there should be no sacrifices, period, for the Creator, because the Creator is what He is. You ain't got to do that for the Creator. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy, bro.
लगभग 250 सालों से इस गांव में चल रहा है। हर साल 13 अप्रैल को गाजर नामक एक उत्सव के चलते लेके गांव में नाचा जाता है। और यही नहीं दोस्तों, उन खोपड़ियों को लेके इस तरीके खेल दिखाया जाता है जैसे वो एक मरे हुए इंसान की खोपड़ी नहीं, एक फुटबॉल हो। दोस्तों गाजर एक हिंदू फेस्टिवल है जिनमें शिव भगवान की पूजा किया जाता है। पूजा शुरू होने के कुछ दिन पहले ही ये सन्ना।
Oh yeah, in BC, I would say the devil is just and like I said, this is my opinion. The devil it's just a construct of what humans construct mentally as evil. You know what I'm saying? All this shit is evil. You know what I'm saying? If a person wants to call this the devil, then fine. You know what I'm saying? But as one soul being that's doing all this, you know what I'm saying? For me personally, I'm like, nah, this is a lot of spirits at work. You know what I'm saying? This is like high level Druja business. You know what I'm saying? That's going on. You know what I'm saying? Because for one, if we roll with the biblical narrative, the devil don't know everything. So how the devil and can't be everywhere at the same time? So how the devil gonna be here at this particular time in India, and then all the other evil that's going on in the rest of the world? You know, you feel me? Nah, this is levels of different Drujan evil, just darkness is popping off right now.
नासी लोग जाते हैं आसपास के किसी कब्रिस्तान पे और वहां पे जाके कब्र की मिट्टी को हटा के लाश की सिर को छुरी या तलवार से काटा जाता है। और ये जो आप वीडियो क्लिप देख रहे हो ये रियल है और YouTube में भी मौजूद है। बाबा भोलानाथ के आप
And the trip is, you know how it be, man. You know, we look at them, like, yeah, you know, Hinduism, that's pagan, and Buddhism, yeah, that's pagan, and any other thing that either wasn't Christian or Israelite or Bible per se, it's all pagan. When niggas was doing the same shit. That's where Oahspe hit you at. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, God was doing the same thing now. You know what I'm saying? You just can't be looking at these people over there because they a couple thousand miles across the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Nah, y'all was doing it too. If that's the house or abode you claim to be, you know what I'm saying? Not you personally, but just, you know, folk that's rocking with certain sections of this whole conglomerate of putting names on ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
देख सकते हो कि कैसे भोलेनाथ की जय की नारा लगाया जा रहा है। क्या हिंदुइज्म या कोई भी धर्म हमें ये सारी चीजें सिखाता है? क्या ये सारी चीजें करने की परमिशन देता है? कभी भी नहीं दोस्तों। ये सिर्फ इन लोगों की अंधविश्वास और बेवकूफी है और कुछ नहीं। और फिर इन्हीं सिर और हड्डियों को ले जाकर एक पेड़ के ऊपर छुपाया जाता है। अब जरा सोचो कि कोई एक ऐसा इंसान जिसे ये सब नहीं पता है, कि उस पेड़ पे कहीं उस पेड़ पर चढ़ता है तो उसे किस हद तक डर लग सकता है ना। और फिर 13 अप्रैल को जो भी सामग्री उस पेड़ पे मौजूद है, जैसे कटा हुआ हड्डी, कटा हुआ सर, और भी जो चीजें उस पेड़ पे मौजूद है जो छुप।
And if you think that's crazy, you already know the niggas in Africa, they been on it. You know what I'm saying? They be having that. Man, look, you already know what it is, man. This is probably light compared to what they be doing in certain areas of Africa. You know what I'm saying?
छुपाया गया था उन सारी चीजों को, और फिर गांव में घूम घूम के ऐसे खेल दिखाया जाता है। हालांकि ये 250 सालों से चल तो रहा है, लेकिन इस बार जो हुआ वो सबकी दिल दहला देने वाला था। ये बच्चा पास की गांव की ही है जो 4 दिन।
This right here, just when I was watching this earlier, it just took me out, bro. Like, if they sacrificed this child, or if they dug the child up, even if they dug the child up, man, they're prancing his upper torso through the streets, man, for a false god. All the major religions have done this. There's one that, and I'm not speaking up for it, but I haven't seen at least one spiritual system they did this, and this is Buddhism. You know what I'm saying? They got their own issues too, but I ain't never seen no Buddhists do no shit like this. No animal sacrifice, no human sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? None of that. But like I said, they got their own issues too. But this just shows you how humanity has degraded. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm wondering where this child's parents are. You know what I'm saying? You know us, boy. We would have whooped the nigga ass doing some shit like this. We were, boy, look.
दिन पहले ही मर चुका था। फिर गांव की रिवाज के अनुसार उस बच्चे को दफनाया गया था। फिर जब सन्यासियों को पता चलता है कि पास की गांव के एक बच्चा मर गया है, तब वो लोग जाते हैं।
But yeah, I'm gonna turn it off, man. I know that's a sensitive thing right there, man. But yeah, I just want folks to know, man. This is why Creative Gang is needed. This is why we rocking hard. Everybody getting it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is getting it. All false God. Ain't no religion, spiritual system that ain't gonna get it. Everybody get it. It's time out to be stool pigeons to these systems, man. We woke now. You know what I'm talking about? We woke now, man. We gotta be these vessels, man, that the Creator gonna work through. We have our business, man. Real talk. And on that note, you have been on the Brown Show Reports. Until next time, fam. Peace.